What is up, guys? I'm gonna talk about the 4 dimensions of life. The words that associate with them, with the top and the bottom. Like I said, the bottom is more feminine, the top is more masculine. The bottom is more object-like, art-like. The top is more heaven-like, it's more subject-like. And now I'm gonna talk about, let's say, universal, objective. I talk a lot about those. Symbolic. So I will illustrate them. I think that they're words that I use a lot and I should illustrate them. So we can say that the left is more feminine and the right is more masculine. NT and ST are more masculine, and SF and NF are more feminine. SF is more extroverted than NF, NF is more introverted. ST is more extroverted than NT, even though NT in perception is actually masculine. It's actually the ST that is more masculine. And even though SF is more feminine in perception, and NF is actually the most feminine. And yeah, I cannot write really masculine there, I don't have a lot of space, sorry for that. So yeah, so the middle of NF is actually symbolic. That's how I see symbolic actually. And the middle is more like a reality, how we come to a reality. And yeah, so the 4 dimensions of life, they have a different reality. So symbolic is reality and NF. It's really the matching of the unity and the multiplicity. Just in order to some kind of language that is in the middle, that is in the role. So the perception at the top is more spiritual, and the bottom is more like can be rituals in a way. Rituals kind of go SF2, so I don't really know the good words for the bottom of NF. Yeah, so I don't really know. Maybe they are both spiritual, I don't know. I think maybe I will go to something very more basic to really kind of have your mind settle on something. And that's what, and yeah, it's like the differentiation is more shown in the unity and multiplicity rather than a specific word, Even though the top is actually more spiritual, bottom is more like a spiritual / ritual with the SF. So you can see that they have their own universal place. So with their universal place, the NF is by default at the top with the spiritual, and the SF is universally at the bottom with the ritual. So they kind of have their own place, even though it also happens at the bottom and also at the top. Because ritual can be, they are about unity in a way, kind of okay, they're repetitive, and even more my quadrant, that's how we will see it. But ritual is more something at the bottom that you do, and motivation that kind of, okay, with time, open you up to revelation at the top. So it's actually more that you start with the SF, and you go to the NF in a way. So yeah, I don't know, okay, I can show that. I mean, SF. You can see that the SF, it starts with the SF and it goes to the NF. So that's why symbolic is like the best word for the SF and the NF. It's the best word, like the best word. Yeah, so, okay, now I have to talk about the NT. The NT is more the forms. It's more like what Plato talked about, the forms, or universals. They are the meeting Universals. Universals more like the top. It can be an F2 universal. Oftentimes what I do is the forms, the word forms I use for NT at the middle, and universal is like what I will talk at the end. So the forms. Oh yeah, and I have to say that SF in the middle is it's kind of not really a middle there. I mean, there is a middle, but I struggle to find one actually. It's not reality, because reality is really the middle for each dimension of life. So I'm not really sure, so maybe you guys can help me with this one. But it's not reality. Reality is more that it's everything in the middle, in a way. That if you go about the NF, the reality is the meeting of those two, symbolic. And the NT is more, okay, if you make the bottom and the top, they will actually make forms. Now forms are a little bit more at the top in some fashion. But it's more like, the top is more like the laws. And the bottom is more like the laws too. And yeah, so what will happen is that the laws at the top are the deal, because the N universally is at the top. And that will squeeze the forms, which is the meeting of the multiplicity and the unity, like the other triangle, you know. ST is more objective. The reality of ST is objective, and the bottom is more like material. And material at the top too. And the universal is material at the bottom, with the S being at the bottom. So all of those together, oh no, I guess I can say the ST. And it's actually, yeah, no, it actually starts with the NT and goes to the ST. Yeah. So that's a lot to digest. And when I talk about universals, universal is sometimes the symbolic plus the forms together. So symbolic and forms together, it's universals in a way. I can talk. Can I write it? The shared collective intelligence of the laws and the spiritual, that's universal. It's more like the top. You summarize those four triangles, and the top will be universal. You summarize the four triangle, and the bottom will be objective. It will kind of align with the ST. Symbolic is more the NF. It's really the middle, but the middle, the top, and the four together, they're universal. It starts to get complicated, I know. Universal is NF and NT. The collective at the top. The collective at the bottom is more like objective. Maybe I will find a better word, because it kind of is the same thing as the ST. So I'm like, I don't think, so maybe I will find a better word. Like the word for SF. Not so sure what is the word for SF. I'm sure, I think I forgot it, you know. I actually know. Yeah, so we'll skip it, I'm sorry. And you know, universal is at the top. So maybe I will do a triangle, you know, big triangle that summarizes all of them. Universal is at the top. Okay, universal is at the top. Objective is at the bottom. And the middle is reality. That's how I illustrate it. When people do talk about symbolic, it's really the middle of the NF. When people actually talk about objective, it's the middle of the ST. And people use objective for everything, but it's not optimal. Objective is more the bottom, and it's more the ST. So if you start to talk about something at the top, you have to use universal. If you talk about the NT, it's more like the sense of the forms, like Plato think. And the reality in himself, yes, it's the middle of each triangle. So if you say objective, yes, it's reality, but it's reality within the ST. And if you say symbolic, it's reality, it's like, yeah, it's true that it's reality, but it's more in terms of NF. Now if you say universal and you say it's reality, it makes more sense. It makes more sense, but it's still the top of reality. And objective, I don't have a really good name. So maybe with time I will change the objective of the ST there, or I will change the bottom of the objective at the bottom of reality there. Not so sure. So yeah, the 3 videos that I did today are more. I mean, a lot of those are solid concepts that I have in my mind, but a lot of those I'm still figuring out. But I'm sure in 2 years or 5 years, I will have them very fleshed out, all the words in a good fashion. And I think that they can summarize a lot about a lot of aspects of philosophy, psychology, and how types deal with their lens about the world. So yeah, thanks for watching.